Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aireonna. Had a really busy day, so coming to you with a car video after work. But I wanted to give you guys all the injury updates from the San Francisco 49ers Seahawks. Horrible, ugly, terrible loss. If you hear a little bit of crackle in my voice, I'm sick, but I'm not on the injury report. I'm pushing through. But no, it was breaking news enough that I felt like I needed to get you guys a video now. Obviously going to be the thumbnail of this, but Brock Purdy is suffering with shoulder soreness, and he's going to be day-to-day, according to Kyle Shanahan. He had his media call today with the media at 3:30, and I was able to listen. Now, obviously, shoulder soreness doesn't seem like a huge deal, but then, and I'm sure it's not. I want to be optimistic. I think Brock Purdy's going to play in Lambeau against the Packers this upcoming Sunday, but I will say there is a part of my brain, because all year the 49ers have been misreporting injuries and misreporting illnesses and giving false information. So my brain did immediately remember when Kyle Shanahan had his, post-game media call and said that Javon Hargrave was suffering with elbow soreness. And then that elbow soreness ended up being a season-ending triceps injury. So that's not good. And then I also remember when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and even Christian McCaffrey himself called his injuries calf soreness, and then that calf soreness ended up being bilateral Achilles tendonitis. So that's not good. Let me turn off the heater really quick. I'm super sick, so I have a big giant coat on, but now I'm in my car. Anyways, so yeah, if calf soreness ended up being bilateral Achilles tendonitis, meaning tendonitis in both your freaking Achilles that holds you out for the majority of the season, then yeah, I'm a little bit worried that shoulder soreness could mean torn bicep, freaking neck pain, neck strain, something, some sort of throwing shoulder injury. I don't think it will mean that, but we have to be vigilant on Wednesday. Tomorrow they have an off day. On Wednesday, the 49ers will practice, and I will immediately tell you guys if Brock Purdy is limited, if he's on the field, how he's doing. I'm thinking because Kyle was relying so much on his drop back passing game, which is easily the worst part of Kyle Shanahan's offense. He was not utilizing play action. Brock Purdy had to scramble. He had to dive for first downs. He was getting tackled in the pocket. The O-line played horribly. Colton McKivitz played horribly. Trent Williams, went out there on one ankle. He was limping just coming into the game. Brock Purdy took lots of hits. He took lots of dives. Doesn't surprise me that his shoulder is sore, but it's something to keep an eye out on. Anyways, moving off of Brock Purdy, probably second most important is Nick Bosa, who could not complete the game because of a hip pointer and oblique injury. Now, you guys might think, oblique injury, that's interesting. I thought they called it a hip pointer. What's a hip pointer? So hip pointer is a deep, intense bruise on your hip from either falling on it or making a tackle or being hit in that hip. Turns out, actually, he was dealing with an oblique injury on that same hip, that same side, all last week, and Kyle and the 49ers just didn't report it, which I don't even think is legal. I don't know how. There's rules against this in the NFL, and the 49ers keep getting away with it. But like I said yesterday in my instant reaction, the hip injury and / oblique injury that ended up making Nick Bosa stop the game was actually not the one that was injured, but he said he was favoring the other side of his body so much that flared up that side. And so when he left the game, now he has a hip injury in both sides of his body and oblique strains, we're going to call it, in both sides of his body. Now, Nick Bosa literally had surgery he had a core injury in college and had to have surgery with it. I'm hoping that oblique injury isn't close to there, doesn't flare up. We know that George Kittle and Charvarius Ward had oblique injuries last year, and they ended up needing surgeries on them. So really hoping Nick Bosa will be okay. they ran Nick Bosa into the ground this year. I don't know what Nick Sorensen was doing. I know that Grant Cohn and Larry Krueger have both asked Nick Sorensen about this. The statistic is, ever since college, some defensive linemen, they play the whole game. Nick Bosa has never been that type of player. He's always needed rest. With Robert Saleh in the 49ers, he was playing Nick Bosa 75% of the time, always having him in a rotation. D'Amico Ryans did the same thing. At Ohio State, the college that Nick Bosa went to, they only played him 75% of the time, especially once he started ramping up these injuries. He obviously had his knee issues, and then, like I said, that core issue, both of which he needed surgery on in college. He's had major injuries. He's obviously had major injuries in the NFL as well. They've always tried to make sure that Nick Bosa is in a rotation so that he can get the rest that he needs and then be the explosive player that's winning. They weren't winning with him playing this much anyways, but like I said, his average all the way up until this year, 75% of the time that the defense was on the field, he would be playing. This year, it was 86%. 86%. So that's over a full 10% more of the game that Nick Bosa was playing that didn't make the defense any better. I'm not saying Nick Bosa wasn't, obviously you see when Nick Bosa went out, the Seahawks scored 2 touchdowns. He's very impactful, but if you would have sat him out for 10%, maybe he doesn't have these injuries flaring up. He was, like I said, pushed himself to go against Tampa Bay. He told the media he was in that much pain again, he wouldn't be able to go. They rested him all week of practice. He was barely out there. I imagine they're going to do the same thing this week. But now he pushed himself to go again, and this time injured the other side of his body. After the game, he looked completely defeated, dejected. He suggested that he'd be out at least 2 games when he was talking, and I touched on this in my instant reaction yesterday after the game. But then today, Kyle Shanahan on the phone said that there is a possibility that he actually plays against Green Bay, and that you can't really ask a player about his injury right after the game or the Monday after because they're really going to be feeling it. You got to give them time. So maybe Nick Bosa will play. I don't think they beat the Packers if Nick Bosa doesn't play. I mean, you saw how confident Geno Smith got once Nick Bosa went down. Jordan Love's going to dice up the 49ers, no offense, without Nick Bosa on the field. And I'm basically saying they're out of the playoffs already. If they lose to the Packers, they're actually out of the playoffs. They have to win, I think, 6 of 7 games coming up in order to have a shot to make the playoffs. Right now, they are last in their division. They've lost to every team in their division, 5-5, but at the bottom of the barrel because all the other teams have tiebreakers against them. The Packers is a divisional game, obviously not NFC of West, but NFC in general. They got to win that game. So maybe Nick Bosa will push himself. I think if I think if he can, he will try to play. I don't think he's like his brother. I know his brother gets a lot of criticism for sitting out. Don't think Bosa will be like that. But I don't know. Maybe at this point he can't. Like he was doing the thing where he was pushing and trying to use the other side of his body, and now that one's flared up. What do you lean on? If both hips hurt, both obliques hurt, there's nowhere else to go at that point. So I'm really hoping Bosa's okay. I'm wondering if it's going to need surgery in this off season, but hopefully that's looking too far ahead and he'll be okay. So then other injuries or other updates. Dre Greenlaw, who's obviously on IR, he's not going to be elevated this week. That's not surprising to me. He tore his Achilles during the Super Bowl. That's usually like a year. I think people are trying to push it. Kyle Shanahan kind of reluctantly, when reporters asked, are you sure? Like, is there any hopefulness that he might come back? Kyle said that he might start practicing next week. Now, when you're on IR, you can be elevated for 3 weeks to practice before you're actually, need to practice in a game. He did say he's like running practice drills by himself. So he's doing some movement, but obviously not fully ready to go for this week, which I think is smart. They're going to be on a plane. I don't think they need to bring him to Buffalo either. I would wait for a home game if you were going to push Dre Greenlaw to practice and, potentially participate. I know that the defense could use him. They could use that energy and his tackles and mostly his energy. I mean, obviously his play on the field, but just this 49ers team is so slow and stagnant and uninspired that Dre Greenlaw might really help them. But you can't blame it all on one guy. Then speaking of other guys that the team definitely feels like they're missing, although I will say that Lenoir played fairly well. He did talk a little bit of shit after the loss, which I love my corner to talk shit. I know that corners are feisty like that, but at the same time, after a loss, I'm kind of like, don't act like you're macho. What are you doing? But Lenoir was talking a little bit of shit. He did have a pretty good game, and then Renardo Green gave up some plays, but I think for a rookie, he's one of the guys that I'm looking forward to watching and seeing how he develops as this season goes on, even if the 49ers do miss the playoffs. Looking at these young guys and how they can, make an impact, I think will be interesting. But Charvarius Ward, the, number one corner for right now on the football team, he obviously has been away, grieving the loss of his daughter. He was back with the team this week. He actually did a couple practices with a trainer over the weekend, just trying to, get back in football shape after taking a couple weeks off to go to Texas and mourn his daughter. And then, so he practiced with the trainer. He was there yesterday in the building for the game, and then was in team meetings today, Monday. If you guys aren't watching this, it's Monday night. Monday Night Football is happening right now. The Texans are currently beating the Dallas Cowboys, which is not shocking. Okay, so hopefully there's optimism that Charvarius Ward could return in Green Bay, which, might give them a little bit of boost. Like I said, I am confident in Renardo Green. I think he's, been playing well, but right now, Charvarius Ward is the better player, and, he's gone through so much. I'd love to, see him end the year strong and really earn a good contract somewhere else, because his contract with the 49ers will be up. Then George Kittle, Kyle Shanahan seemed very optimistic that he would practice on Wednesday. Like I said, that's the next time that the team's going to practice together. He mentioned that he, definitely a possibility to go in Green Bay. Matter of fact, Kyle seemed like it was pretty much a lock that he's going to go in Green Bay. He, like I said, will practice on Wednesday. Apparently he was almost able to push himself to go on Sunday against the Seahawks. He was very, very close. He was disappointed that he couldn't make it with that hamstring injury he's dealing with, but Kyle's hopeful that he'll be back this week. So that's the update on George Kittle. The offense needs all the freaking help it can get right now, so I think George Kittle is such a target, such a monster in the red zone, helping with blocking. Definitely will help this team to get him back. Now, I don't think it should all be on one guy. There's so much talent on this team. There's no excuse, in my opinion, for Kyle not to be able to scheme up an effective offense without George Kittle, and for Brock Purdy to get guys the ball without George Kittle. But unfortunately, guys aren't getting separated. Debo isn't getting separation. Christian McCaffrey, not the player he was right now, and I'm not blaming that on him. He's obviously dealing with an injury. John Jennings has been having the game of his life, but he's one guy. What are you going to do? George Kittle getting back on the team, big body, helpful in the red zone, helpful in the blocking game. That'll be exciting. Now, moving on from injuries, just to end this off, Kyle did, mention that the team was pissed and disappointed. I unfortunately feel like these sentiments rain hollow. I don't know where the energy is in this team. We have not seen, the defense have that brutal, physical, fast tackle, hard-hitting, like the way that we anticipate this 49ers defense to be that's the Lions this year. Like every time, I haven't checked on it recently, but about 2 weeks ago, every team that played the Lions the week after lost. I'm old enough to remember when that was a 49er stat. This offense, 35 points, 30 points, just demolishing teams. Now, they're letting teams hang around. They're blowing leads in the fourth quarter. Blew a lead to the Rams. Blew a lead to the Cardinals. Blew a lead to the Seahawks. Blew a lead to the Tampa Bay. I mean, they ended up... Is that guy trying to kill me? Sorry. No, he's not. Can I get in trouble for saying the Kill word on YouTube? He's literally just doing his job sweeping, and I decided to make a video at the freaking gas station. Like I said, I had a really busy day, and I wanted to give you guys these updates, and I didn't want to wait to get home. I wanted to make sure I could give you guys something Going to be going live tomorrow with Tom Jensen, breaking down the game, breaking down the season, where we're at. Kyle Shanahan, should he, be let go? Should he be on the hot seat? Brian Schneider, the special teams coordinator, why the hell is he still on the team? Brock Purdy, how much is he to blame? Does he, deserve a $65 million contract? When you watch the Chargers and the Bengals last night on Sunday Night Football, I mean, that was such an exciting game, such an exciting passing offense. And when, people say, oh, Kyle's run game, but, don't look at his passing game, it's like, well, this is football. Isn't passing important? Shouldn't he at the very least have to bring someone in or something if his passing game is so bad that you just have to ignore it? And only Bill Belichick said something like that too, just like really, if you're looking at Kyle Shanahan, you want to look at the run game, that's where the creativity is. And it's like, that's great. But for some reason, Kyle Shanahan seems to also have lost that, because an injured Christian McCaffrey is back and he's running Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey was out for 4 plays. Only 4 plays all game. By the way, the 49ers just beat the Seahawks like 3 weeks ago with Jordan Mason and Isaac Rendo. This week, Isaac Rendo, I think, got 0 touches. Jordan Mason got 2. And he averaged 6.5 yards on both of those carries. And then for some reason, Kyle decided, we don't need to give him the ball. So I don't know what kind of genius that is. But like I said, the disappointed, pissed thing, that sentiment reigns hollow to me at this point. They've said that after all their other losses. They haven't adjusted. I had the faith that, the 49ers were going to hit that gear, where, okay, they're in their hole, but then they go on the winning streak. And they haven't done it yet. And I guess they still could. I think Lambeau's really the last opportunity they get. Even with that, I mean, in order to have a record just to get in, I think only one team from the NFC West is going to be able to make it, because teams have really good records in the NFC right now. Maybe if Washington starts to crumble, that could be an opportunity for them. But it sucks to be in a position where at the end of the year, I mean, that Cardinals game is going to be a must-win game, and then it also might be something where, fans are crossing their fingers that another team loses. Their fate is in their hands this week against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, but you can only lose so many games before the playoffs are over and you're really looking at a lost season. So hopefully that's not it. That is it for all the injury updates, though. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm glad that I got to do this. Like I said, I know it's in my car, but I love YouTube. I love you guys. I had so many people in the comments letting me know their opinions, reacting with me yesterday, and it made me feel really nice. So at the end of a long day, I wanted to give you guys a video. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to be going live with Sports Illustrated's Tom Jensen tomorrow around 2, I think, maybe 3, depending on his schedule. So make sure to give me a like, subscribe, comment down below. What injury do you think is, hurting us the most? You think Kyle should be on the hot seat? You think Brock should get paid? Let me know. Like and subscribe and tune in tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Bye.